We're back with growing concerns over the economy, and this time it's not from inflation or rising interest rates, but from politics.
Yeah, government funding is due to run out on September 30th, and when members return from their summer recess, they'll have just 12 legislative days to pass a spending bill to avert a potentially harmful government shutdown. Here's what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said on this on Morning Joe yesterday.
Speaker McCarthy and I met a few weeks back, and we agreed we should do what's called a CR. In other words, a congressional resolution where you just extend the existing funding for a few months so we could work this out. And I thought that was a good sign. And so we are working together to avoid that shutdown in the Senate, Democrats and Republicans. But the House, McCarthy is going to have the dilemma of dealing with these hard-right people who are just totally destructive and angry.
Investopedia's editor-in-chief, Caleb Silver, joins us now to discuss, one of our favorite friends, for a conversation like this. Great to see you, Caleb. So a government shutdown is potentially upon us. Walk us through just exactly what that ultimately the impact of that could be.
Yeah, stop me if you've heard this one before, because we go through this all the time.
Yeah.
But a government shutdown in this case means we do not fund the non-essential workers of the government. Now, who gets funded? Air traffic control, right? Members of law enforcement, but other non-essential employees, as deemed by the government, don't go to work, which means that it could be the delay in getting Social Security checks, in Medicare, in VA services, right? These are government services that millions and millions of people rely on. They would be furloughed, and some folks would be furloughed in their jobs. They'll get paid later once this passes, but it's a big, shutdown in the economy that ripples from the government out to the rest of the industry.
So recently we had the ratings agency Fitch downgrade the U.S.'s credit rating over what it called a steady deterioration in standards of governance. What's the impact of this, and any chance it'll change soon, go up or go down?
No, this is exactly what Fitch was talking about, the fact that political leaders can't come to terms either over the debt ceiling or, in this case, over government spending. That's destructive. So Fitch already downgraded U.S. debt. You could see other rating agencies, that's S&P and Moody's, also downgrade U.S. government debt. That's a problem because that drives bond yields up, and bond yields are the basis for all of our borrowing, credit cards, car loans, home loans. So that's the big risk here.
It's something to hear you say that's exactly what they were talking about, and then to watch this play out again after that had already happened. While we have you, I do want to switch gears quickly, talk about the fact that President Biden was touting his work on the Inflation Reduction Act. First, I want to play a little bit of sound, and we'll talk on the other side.
I'm not here to declare victory on the economy. Our economy is stronger and better than any industrial nation in the world right now. But we have more work to do. We have a plan that's turning things around. The Inflation Reduction Act is a part of that plan. Bidenomics is just another way of saying restoring the American dream.
So we know inflation is lower than it was, for sure, but we've seen a lot of different things here happen. We've seen what the Fed's been doing, that interest rate. How much of this can sort of lay at President Biden's feet as a success there with the particular Inflation Reduction Act?
Well, even the president says maybe we shouldn't have called it the Inflation Reduction Act when they named it, because it is a climate bill under any other name. So they called it that because that was the political hot point at the moment. But what it has done is created some clean energy jobs, about 170,000. The administration's pledged 1.5 million over the next decade. It's had an impact on GDP because there's much more money going into EVs, clean energy production, but we can't measure that quite yet. So it has helped. It has helped with job growth. It has helped with GDP, but it really hasn't been the trigger to bring down inflation. That's been the Fed, as you mentioned.
All right. Caleb, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.